But working hard isn't enough. There's lots of people who work hard and never make money.
I'm going to succeed because I have more heart than anyone else. I'm going to work harder than anyone else. I care more than anyone else.
The vast majority of people just don't want to do the work. They're looking for a lottery ticket, man. They're looking for a magic bullet. That's what most people are looking for.
Welcome, everyone, to the Something to Prove podcast with Mark Drager and Evan Carmichael. I am talking right now in my hosty voice. You see the shift between like, "Hey, Evan, how you doing?" to like, "Welcome, everyone."
I think you should always talk like that. That'd be good.
You know what? I do that to my kids, and they do not. They do not find it amusing at all. They will start covering their ears when I'm like, "Good morning, Rachel. How are you today?" And they're like, "No, stop it."
Oh, well, we don't want that for our podcast. People listen to our podcast and cover their ears. That's not good.
Well, there you go. Hey, I haven't spoken to you in a long time. Evan, what is new with you, man? I've had a crazy week, but how's ClickFunnels going for you?
ClickFunnels is good. I haven't looked at it in the past week or so. I got a handle on it, so now I know what I need to do. So now it's not my obsession anymore.
So what are you obsessing about then?
I'm obsessing with that Netflix show. I haven't seen it, but there's a show that's like Choose Your Own Adventure.
Yeah. You're talking about Bandersnatch?
Yeah, I want to do that for YouTube.
Okay. It's been done. It's been done a long time ago. Maybe back in 2010, 2011, when they first did the annotations, someone did a whole campaign. All I remember is it ends with you having the decision whether you want to try and fight a bear or not. But they rolled out this entire campaign where you could click on, you can make your decision, click on the annotation, and it would take you to another thing and would continue the story.
Mark, everything's been done.
It's awesome. It's
all been done. Just got to keep doing it and do it better. You got to crush it.
I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm saying it's awesome. It's a fun experience.
Yeah, that's what I just discovered last night, and we're going through it. I'm in Salt Lake City right now. It's snowing. It's our first snow experience since coming back from the West Coast. It's colder. We're going to Denver today. It's colder in Denver than it is in Toronto.
Everything is colder in Denver than it is in Toronto. Right now, it's great. Like I'm walking around without a jacket on. Even it's only -2. You're not that chatty this morning. What's going on?
I had a rough night last night. Nina was making tons of noise, so.
Okay.
I woke up at 5 and then started working.
We need fire, Evan. We need fire, Evan.
Okay. Well, let's do it. Give me a topic. What are you talking about? Fire Evan doesn't come from chit chat, Mark. Okay. Fire Evan comes from content.
Yes. There you go. I can see that I'm starting to get you upset. Let's just let those awkward pauses hang. Okay, here's the
audience. Mark is in a special mood today.
Here we go. Here's the question. You ready?
Yeah.
I see it all the time in every live chat that you do. It comes up on your YouTube channel. We're walking through this right now with one of our staff members. Evan, how do you find a mentor?
Oh.
I want to talk about the different types of mentorship. The challenges that we face in finding people, the reasons why we think we need them. Let's just talk mentoring. But at the end of this topic, I want to know the 1 or 2 steps we can do to find a mentor.
I actually like starting with aspirational mentors. So these are people that you never meet. Bill Gates saved my company, even though I've never met him, because I looked at how he started Microsoft, applied those lessons. That saved my first software company. And as a result, like 20 years later, that's all I've done is just kept showcasing lessons from different entrepreneurs. If you read books and watch videos and listen to podcasts from the people who you look up to and respect, you will learn. You are being mentored. It's already happening. Aspirational mentorship. And so you can choose to surround yourself with Oprah Winfrey or Elon Musk or Mark Drager whenever you want. That's the trio. That's the winning trio right there.
I love it.
Elon, Oprah, and Mark. Eom or Om or Mio or Mo. Let's just go Mo. Mark, Oprah, and Elon. You could be around Mo anytime you want. Mark gets top billing. That's just how he rolls.
With me and Oprah, yeah, I would let her take top billing. That's okay.
So you could choose to have your heroes and role models in your life as much as you want. And this was harder to, it was harder. Like 10 years ago, 20 years ago, our parents, that wasn't possible. I guess books was the only way. But through my content, my videos or podcasts, you can have these people in your ear as much as you want. And so you find the thing that you want more of in your life. If you want more courage, then you surround yourself with people who are demonstrating courage, and that will seep into you. Mm-hmm. And so step one is just aspirational mentors, finding those people who exude the mindset, the belief system, the skills that you want. And when you're around that every day, it'll seep into you. The second part is, okay, real life mentors. Like, I want to touch somebody,
mm-hmm.
Hey, you're real, People like to poke me at my workshops.
Where like in your stomach or like
no,
on
just
your
in general.
shoulder?
They like to poke me. It's like, oh, you're a real person. Like, yeah, I'm a real person. I watch you on YouTube every day, but I can touch you.
Yeah.
So I get poked a lot. I get poked in every city.
Not only is Evan a real person, he is like a not famous person. So when you're walking around, you like it when people come up to you. It's not like you're like hiding or anything like that. Like Evan also walks on the street and uses the elevator and all those other things.
Evan in the Elevator is my next series. Although yes. I found out from multiple cities that Evan in the shower is a thing. Watching my videos in the shower is a big thing.
Okay, yes.
And numerous people in different cities say my voice. I forget how it goes. My voice tonality or something.
Just to sleep?
No, just like really goes with the shower vibe. I don't know. I don't get it. I was very blown away, but then it's popped up in multiple cities.
I would be curious to know anyone who has lost their phone, damaged their phone because of Evan, because I have dropped 2 phones in the shower where it slipped off the edge and face down, because I used to listen to the radio or music in the morning. And so you put it on a little shelf in my shower, it falls off, I look down, it's now covered in water. I want to know how many phones have been damaged because of your bassy tones.
I've never brought a phone in the shower, period. That's wild. I didn't ask how people are listening to my content.
Window ledge, yes, Posh Notions, window ledge. That's where you put it. Mentorship, back to mentorship.
Yeah. So the second are people that you can meet. And there's now like get to the hybrid. So people you can meet. And here's how it starts. You ask one question. Don't go and ask somebody, will you be my mentor? That's like walking up to somebody on the street and asking them to marry you. It's a relationship. And you're disrespecting their time by saying, will you be my mentor? You're disrespecting the relationship. Never lead with that question, ever. It's the worst lead to mentorship relationship of all time. Almost. Maybe like, I hate you is worse, but will you be my mentor is almost as bad. Because mentors love giving, they love giving back. People, they love serving. We love serving and helping. But most mentees suck and never do the work. And so people hate wasting their time. So it's that combination of what they love doing, they also hate doing. Mm-hmm. The thing they love the most is also the thing they hate the most, because they want to help, but they don't want to waste their time. And that's what most of mentorship is. So you need to stand out as a mentee to not be the one that's going to waste somebody's time. And so don't go in asking for a mentorship relationship with somebody who doesn't even know you. You're wasting their time. You ask one question. What's the most important? Think about this person you're going to go meet. And then what is the most important question that this person can ask or answer for you right now? What are you struggling with? And how can they help? Mm-hmm. That's it. One question. And then go do the work. Go do the work before you ever come back. Do the work. What most mentees will do is they'll think about it, and then they'll come back and ask 18 more questions. No. Not acceptable.
See, now you're touching on what I think when people think that they need a mentor, or when they actively search for a mentor, I don't think they want mentorship. I think they want answers and they want accountability. And you can get answers from a mentor, but if you don't respect their time and you don't do it and you don't implement it, they're going to stop giving you those answers because you'll lose that window of time. And mentorship is different than accountability. I think when people think that they need a mentor, though, they want someone to tell them what to do and how to do it, and then they want someone who's going to hold them accountable for actually doing it. And maybe that's a different type of mentorship, even peer mentorship or whatever it might be, mastermind groups and stuff. But I don't know if people actually want mentorship or if they just want answers and accountability.
I think they're just looking for a way to not do any work. Most people. I don't even think they're at that level, Mark. I mean, there's a good chunk. There's like 20% who are at that level. But the vast majority of people just don't want to do the work. They want it to be easy. So they say, okay, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. Great. I'm going to talk to Evan. He's going to give me some killer strategies. Great. They all involve crazy amounts of work.
Guys,
3 videos a day for 5 years, guys. Let's go.
The more time you spend with Evan, the more work you have to do.
Yeah. And the more you're going to grow and kick butt. Mm-hmm. That's how we roll. Mm-hmm. So, but people don't want to work. They want just a hack. They're looking for a lottery ticket, man. They're looking for a magic bullet. That's what most people are looking for. They don't actually want to do the work to build a business. That's why most people don't want to give back and mentor, because you just want a lottery ticket and you don't want to do the work. And nobody wants to mentor that person. So you need to show that you're not that person. Then you get to what you came up with accountability and answers. Your mentor doesn't want to be your accountability buddy.
They don't want to chase you.
They don't want to have to call you at 7 a.m. to wake you up and help you go to the bathroom. Pull your pants up. Like, that's not what mentors are for. Go do the work. Yeah. And it's not even so much about getting the results. It's just about doing the work. If you get an answer from your mentor who says, go do this, great. Maybe you try it twice and it works out. Amazing. It worked out. Now go back and ask a second question. But maybe it doesn't work out. But don't try twice and then go back and say it didn't work. You got to try 100 times. Mm-hmm. Try that thing 100 times before you ever go back and ask a second question. Mm-hmm. But if you tried 100 times, if I gave you advice and then you tried it 100 times and you still suck at it and you're not getting any kind of results through it, great, come back. No, I'm okay. I'm not. I'm great. Come back. Let's talk about it, because I'm seeing you putting in the effort. That's what people will respect. So maybe you're not doing it right, right? Or maybe there's a small tweak that has to be made. Or maybe you're just really slow. Awesome. But you're putting in the effort. That's what mentors want to see. And most mentees don't do that. So don't be that person.
So first type of mentorship is mentoring with someone who's aspirational, who they will inform you and shape your worldview and be that big thinker and get you fired up. But it's through, books, or it's through videos, or through Evan's channel, or whatever it might be. The second is the person that you want to be able to poke to make sure that they're a real person. And you're going to go and ask that question to. We're going to circle around on some of this stuff, I think, in a bit, because I have some questions and thoughts as well. What's the third? You mentioned hybrid real quick. What does that mean?
Oh, there's a hybrid. I just want to quickly address something else. People go to mentorship because they're looking for the hacks and the solutions, and it's great. And yes, a mentor can give you shortcuts. That's why you're going to talk to them. But it's still work. You still have to go on and put in the work. So there's no hashtag that's going to save you on Instagram, friends. If your content is not, if you're not putting out daily content, there's no hashtag that's going to save you. I love hacking. I love optimizing. I love shortcuts. But you still have to drive. You still got to go. Like, this still work. Mm-hmm. Don't hear it as, well, it's just work and grinding. Like, I want to find a shortcut path. Yeah, I do too. That's all I'm about is shortcut paths, combined with an insane amount of work. It's hard and smart. People just I'm working smart. Great. You suck. Like, you're not getting anything done. You're working smart 1 day a month. Congratulations. Like, you got to do both. But working hard isn't enough. There's lots of people who work hard and never make money. Mm-hmm. They bust their face and never make money. Yeah, they're not working smart.
Well, they think I did this to myself, but I've heard it from other people too. They go, I'm going to succeed because I have more heart than anyone else. I'm going to work harder than anyone else. I care more than anyone else. And then, a year or two later, they realize that caring more and working harder and having more heart doesn't necessarily break through. Like, it just, like, there may be more to it than that. And they get defeated because they go, well, I guess hard work wasn't enough and all these things. You need both sides of it.
You need both. Tim Ferriss doesn't work 4 hours a week. You need both.
No.
He doesn't. So the hybrid is this. The hybrid is all these people who you look up to, a lot of them are getting online and doing stuff like this. We can get access.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's, if I look in the entrepreneur world, whether it's me or Gary Vee or Grant Cardone or Tom Bilyeu or Robin Sharma, like a lot of them, we're doing live sessions where you can come and ask a question. Turn on your notifications. Some are more popular than others. You may not get picked, but you show up every time and you ask a question. And so you may never get to meet Gary Vee, but you can go to his live and ask a question. You might get a response. Right? And so there's this weird, like, little hybrid piece between the aspirational mentors and somebody you're going to poke that I think you should take advantage of if you want to learn. Yeah, and then go do the work and then come back and said, hey, Gary, I did this 1,000 times and it finally paid off at 998. And now I got a second question for you. Now you're being mentored.
There you go. I've been running my business 12 years. We met through your peer mentorship group. And so, when I think of the more formal, the more structured, not even structured, just the different types of mentorship, there are associations, there are business groups, there are chambers of something, and entrepreneur think tanks and all these things that run all these programs where if you're looking for like more formal mentorship, you can enroll yourself into one of those things. You can find 2 or 3 friends who are, in a similar business growth as to where you are, and you can start to speak to one another in a regular way or hold each other accountable. I've been part of a formal program where for 9 months I was connected with a mentor who was 20 years ahead of me, and we were only supposed to have half an hour each day, but he didn't follow the process. And so he said, how long do we meet? And I said, 2 hours every month. And he's like, oh, okay. And I made sure to come with like, this is the one thing this month that I want to get from you. The next month I'd say, this is what I did last month. This is what you said. Here's how I implemented. Now here is the one topic I want to ask you this month. One thing that's worked for me the best actually is being connected with people who are so far above me in growth, in career, in age, and literally asking them for a cup of coffee or for breakfast for 15 minutes or 30 minutes. Because if you're someone who's a senior executive or you're further along in your career, and it's not that you're retired, but maybe you sold your company, maybe you've exited, maybe you have free time in or between things, being able to approach them and say, listen, we got connected through this person. I am 20 years behind you. I am looking to do this and this and this with my business. Would you be open for a 10-minute call? Maybe grabbing a cup of coffee or grabbing breakfast sometime really early in the morning. I'm an early riser. What do you think? I have been connected with amazing people this way, and I only reach out maybe every 6 or 9 months, but they are willing to give you time, and if they see that you care. They're willing to connect with you if through a friend of a friend you're able to get introduced to people. I consider those people my mentor, even though there's no formal program and even though they probably don't consider me their mentee. Just because I can connect with them, I can ask them a question, and then I can try and implement it.
I think that works super well when you can get introduced to somebody. I think that actually ends up being the best thing. If I was meeting, Tony Robbins to interview him on my channel, if there's no agenda, I would ask him, hey, ask me questions. Like, tell me where I suck. I don't know what I don't know. I think that's actually the best, to have somebody who's ahead of you just poke at you and say, here's all the reasons why you suck and where things are going to go.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the greatest. But getting that is hard.
Why is it hard?
Like if Mark Drager said, Mark, Evan, can you please help my friend out and get on a call and talk to them for 15 minutes or grab a coffee? I'd say yes and figure out a time. And I'll like carve out a time to make that happen. Mm-hmm. If somebody DMs me and says, hey, Evan, do you have 15 minutes? No.
Oh, of course. No. This
right?
isn't a cold
like
DM.
But that's the hard part, is like most people don't know somebody who knows somebody.
But that's
your
because
friends
you're
all
thinking,
suck too. Like,
but
a lot of people have friends who are lower than they are, and like you're the best of your circle.
sure.
And so maybe the path is everybody DMs Mark, and then Mark becomes buddy, then says go meet Evan. But
I already do get those DMs where people DM me to ask to connect with you. But that's not what I'm saying. I guess what I'm saying is, here's a real world example. We're looking at moving our firm from one type of structure to an agile structure. I don't really know that much about agile. So in our collection of friends, I reach out to a guy named Steve, and I say, Steve, listen, I'm doing this and I'm thinking about moving here, and I can read books and I've watched some videos. I literally don't know how to approach this. I reached out to Louis and we're looking at training. Is there anyone that you can think of that I should connect with who could just help explain to me in my industry how to move from who we are today to this agile model? And he's like, yeah, you should totally connect with this guy. And then he bridged the gap. We went out for breakfast. It was a great connection. I learned a few things, nothing about agile as it turns out, but it was still a great connection. And I learned a few things. And it was just me being willing to turn to a few people, and say, I'm thinking about doing this and this, and I don't know how to do it. Like, who should I connect with? And then them connecting me. It's not like, I think you're thinking Tony Robbins, like the aspirational side of things. There are lots of non-famous people who have done really amazing things. There are lots of people where someone will use up a little bit of goodwill to try and connect you if they know that I am not going to go there and pitch them. I'm not going to embarrass them. I'm not going to waste that person's time. If they know that, then they'll use up their goodwill to try and help you.
I think it's much easier when you're hitting somebody who is at the same level as you, but in a different industry. When I wanted to learn ClickFunnels, right? We led this whole thing off about ClickFunnels. Now you can't cut it, Mark. You got to keep it.
Yes, it's the best.
Adam, I don't know if he's still in the live chat on Instagram here or not, but Adam shows up. He's a motivational speaker. Shows up with his vlogger, with his camera guy, and his camera guy has a ClickFunnels T-shirt on. And like, why are you wearing that T-shirt? Like, I see him, and I go, right, why do you have that T-shirt on? He said, I used to work, because I used to work tech support for ClickFunnels for a couple of years, and now I left recently to start a videography business. Mm-hmm. I go to Adam, say, Adam, I need this guy's time tomorrow. What do we have to do? How do we make it work? Like, how do I help him? How do I help you? I don't know what the model is, but I need to pick his brain and learn about ClickFunnels because he's the guy. I don't know what I can bring him, right? I mean, I'm assuming I can bring something. They're here at my workshop. I'm going to bring some kind of value. So here we go. And we ended up meeting for 3 hours or 4 hours the next day, and then another 2 or 3 hours 2 days later. And I had a limited window because I was only going to be in San Jose for that amount of time. That's a lot easier when you're going like, I want to learn Agile. I want to learn some skill set where there's tons of people who can teach you that thing. I want to learn salsa dancing. Great. There's lots of people who can teach you salsa dancing. Mm-hmm. But as you get higher up on the food chain of skill level, it narrows it down. Russell Brunson DM'd me, I don't know, a year or two ago. He's the founder of ClickFunnels. Mm-hmm. Invited me to some event that he was putting on and be his VIP guest. I said no. Well, I didn't care about ClickFunnels. Right. I'm busy. That's right? Okay. Thank you, Russell. Appreciate you, man. Not That's interested. Okay. Much love, right? Yeah. I can reach out to Russell and say, hey, man, I want to get back into ClickFunnels. But I don't want him teaching me the dummy stuff. Like, I'm a pure dummy. I don't know anything. So I want to use that connection when I have something that I think is worthy of his insights to be able to go and learn from. But I have that connection. Other people don't. If I'm building a YouTube channel, there aren't that many people who can now teach me about YouTube because I'm great at what I do. Mm-hmm. If you're just starting out, there's 1 million people who can teach you. If you have 0 subscribers, the person who has 10 can teach you a lot. And so when you're trying to figure out Agile, there's lots of people can teach you this stuff.
Of course.
But if you're saying, hey, I want to build a $500 million marketing agency, mm-hmm. How many people have done that? And how are you going to get on their radar? and get 20 minutes of their time. That's hard.
Yeah.
They value their time.
Sure.
So that's where it becomes a challenge.
Right.
If it's a new skill, great, easy.
But when you are running the $350 million ad agency and you want to get to $500 million, then you're going to be fairly close. When you're running the $5 million ad agency, it's like your Russell contact. You're going to sit and wait, and you're going to be like, you know what? I don't need to speak to the $500 million person today. I need to speak to the $30 million person today. Those people you can get in front of. They're not famous.
It's still going to come through. It has to come through some kind of connection. But most people don't have those connections, and there's very few people.
Ladder up.
That's what I'm saying. When you're looking at building something in an industry and getting closer and closer to the top, there aren't that many people who can help connect you. But if you're looking at learning a new skill that you have no knowledge in, there's lots of people who can connect you. Like if you said, I want to learn Agile, great. If it's super important to you, I could email my list and say, hey guys, my friend Mark wants to learn Agile. Who can help?
I don't want to learn Agile.
Help.
I want the team to learn Agile.
Whatever. And we'll find people.
Yeah.
Because lots of people know how to do that thing.
The reason why I wanted to cover this topic is because it's a perceived roadblock, but I don't think it is a roadblock. I think it's more of a mindset than anything else. Louis, right? Who, you know, for the listeners, we've had this big challenge that we're working with Fanta. We're doing this restructuring. I made someone on my team the COO of the company. I have given away the management of my company to someone else. He's been with me for 5 years. What's that?
That was a good call.
Thank you. For some reason, it came to me. I heard this voice while I was getting on a plane from New York, and it said,
"Shower."
In the shower. Evan's like, you need to do this. So I've put him in the position of COO. He has no experience as a COO. He is 100% the right person because of his heart, because of the way he thinks, because of his insight. Last night, we had this conversation where I was blown away by the level of insight he was able to provide that was such a blind spot for me. But I can help him get better at the stuff I'm good at. I cannot help him get better at the stuff that I suck at. You have pointed that out. So right away, day one, I said, we are going to find you some sort of mentorship. Now, we're not looking for accountability. What we're looking for is some sort of mentorship. So we're looking at peer mentor groups. Now, finding mentorship for a COO role rather than a CEO or a president or an entrepreneur or something, like it's a little tougher. So we're looking at online videos. We're looking at COO Alliance or Cameron Harold, who is a CEO for 1-800-GOT-JUNK, who has written books and has a podcast. I'm going to reach out to my connections and do what I've done before, which is, hey, we're looking for someone with more focus on operations, team building, culture. Who can we connect with? I honestly think that there are paths towards finding these answers. I'm a believer that you can very easily find people to help you. But what we're not doing is looking at, and maybe I'm not thinking aspirational enough, but we're not looking at like the COO of Facebook and going like, we need to speak to that person because just the size, scope, we're not publicly traded. We don't have that kind of team. We don't have those kind of challenges. So we're thinking of people, in our city or through connections that we can get in front of that can answer that one question. The one question he has that month, which might be, hey, we need to restructure our team, and what are the things that I need to be worried about? Maybe I don't know what his worries are right now, but there's paths. There's paths to this.
Yeah, and again, it's easy, even though it's a more challenging role of COO. This guy's coming from being a video producer, video editor. Boom! Now you're COO of a marketing agency. Let's go.
Yeah.
But there's lots of COOs who have knowledge that they can impart.
Mm-hmm. This is why I love this move so much, though. This is what I love about his story so much, right? Louis didn't go to university. He didn't go to college, right? He's a video editor with the mindset of creating being the best video editor in the world. And 2 years ago, I say, your role isn't to be a great video editor. It's to create great experiences, and what decision making has to go to being able to create great experiences. And then when it comes time for me to look at my team last May, when Evan reminds me that I suck at this, it's the best, I'm the best and the worst at this. And I look at my team and I go, who is the opposite of me with heart and with compassion and with drive and desire and everything else? It's someone who isn't the most senior person in the company. It's someone who hasn't been with me the longest. And it's someone who has zero experience in this role. And so it's a big swing. It's a big change. But yeah, he needs support and he needs guidance. But it's going to be bumpy for him along the way. But mentorship will help.
And there's lots of people who can help him. And as he grows, he'll quickly tap them out. Like if you're pulling from the people who can easily help, then you'll tap those people out because Louis is a hustler. Like somebody who's been a COO for 5 years and runs a shop of 20 people, great. He'll learn a little bit. And then after 3 months, he'll tap that person out. And now it gets harder and harder. But you could find somebody through your connections who would sit down with him once a month and he can just say, here's what I'm doing. I don't know. What do you think?
But anyone can do that, right? I know you say that you're the smartest, you're the highest thinker, you're the leader of your surroundings, and everyone else in your group, if you're an entrepreneur, is probably below you. But you can start. You can start by having that meeting with someone, that coffee, that conversation, writing the email, and just asking that one question in the email. You can start, right?
Thinking about your connections is a faster path in. I think depending on how high you're shooting, a lot of people won't want to have a coffee with you from a cold DM. Some people will.
Not from a cold DM. Connections. Yeah, connections.
Yeah, but then that's the part. That's the problem for a lot of people watching at the beginning. They have no connections. Like when I started my company, I went to the bank to say, "Hey, I've started a company. How can you help?" And they said, "Well, do you need a loan?" And I said, I don't know. I'm starting a business. You're a bank. You're supposed to help me, right? Like,
yeah.
No, it's not how banks work. We give loans. Wow. Okay, great. Like that was my extent of connections.
Okay. But
so for
you
people who are,
but you could have gone to, like, I don't know, Jeremy knows this stuff better than me, but doesn't Toronto have some kind of business? Like there's the Board of Trade is garbage, but doesn't it have some kind of business entrepreneur thing that's for free, where if you want to connect with people and talk to someone, they will give you that?
For people who are naturally extrovert and love making connections, then this is a no-brainer. Like you just keep going, ask your connections, keep leveling up, keep going to networking, talk to everybody you meet, tell your story, you'll find connections. For people who aren't like that, then that's the big thing. It's like, well, that the Board of Trade sucks, but they may not. They're going on Google and typing Toronto entrepreneur connections, and you see what shows up. And so there's a lot of wasted time in figuring out that path.
Okay, so what's the answer?
Well, through your path, I'm just saying it's difficult. Like if you have connections, great, you use them and you slowly build them up. I built all my connections from zero. Right.
I guess so. I don't know. Are you saying that I haven't? I mean, I know you're not saying that, but I've built all of my connections from zero as well. But when I started my company, I worked at a previous company for 1.5 years. So I used the people I knew from that previous company.
No, dude, I think you're in a great spot to go and help Louis on your team. You know people who are CEO. You're not going to go to your big clients who run giant companies, but you could get Louis a mentor.
Oh, yeah.
The people listening, the people watching, they don't have a Mark Drager that they work for who's helping them and guiding them. So it's about doing it for yourself. So what are you going to do for so how are you going to go and build the $100 million marketing agency? Who are you going to get to mentor to help you?
I don't know. But when I started my company. I quit my job. I left the previous company I was at. I still knew 10 people at the previous company. I mean, there was like 180 employees there. It wasn't massive, but I still had 5 or 10 people that I could send an email to who would respond to me. And over the course of 6 months or 9 months, those 10 people, a few of them went to a different company. And so if I had a question about, let's say that you worked at McDonald's, right? You want to start a company and you have questions about customer service or about operations or about marketing. Could you reach out to someone in your buying group, in the franchisee who owns 8 locations, and say, hey, I've worked for you for 3 years in high school and I have a question about operations. I have a question about hiring. I have a question about I don't know if that's who you want to mentor you or not, because you're thinking maybe crazy big. But the way I think of mentoring is I have a question and I need an answer to it, right? I think answers and accountabilities. So what's the best way that I should do this and this? And it doesn't have to come from sexy, popular people. It can come from people with experience who can help you.
Maybe it's just in the definition. When you're talking about those things, I'm thinking about, again, somebody who's almost my equal, who just has a skill set difference than me. I'm starting my business. I know nothing about customer service. Great. This guy knows customer service. Come and train me in customer service. I see that almost as like a trainer, not a mentor. Like a mentor is someone who's done a lot more than me that I want to learn from, who's going to guide me.
It can be both. Our peer mentorship group, the 8 of us that we were in different industries with slightly different mindsets and different things. It wasn't this sliding scale from like the most experienced to the least. It was us mentoring one another from our different mindsets and our different personalities.
Yeah, it could be a definition thing. I mean, the guy who helped you with Agile, I don't see as your mentor. Like, he's just a contact you're learning from. You save some training dollars.
I'm going to do the training anyway.
Well, but whatever. Instead of hiring a trainer to come in and do it, you leverage some connections and you got this guy to help you. But I don't see that as he's mentoring your company. He's a trainer.
So here's a great example. Like we want to build an agile system within a marketing agency. As far as the research I can do, very few agencies work this way. So if I could find and get connected with the person who is currently running this company and has already transitioned from who we are to who they are, then I would do what I can to ladder up to that person, ask them a question, wait a few months, ask them a second question, maybe try and take them out for dinner or say like, hey, can I fly to your location and spend a day just in your offices, after 3 months or 6 months of working at it. I see that as mentorship, right? I see anyone who's willing to give you the time and pour into you in exchange for nothing on one or more times as someone who is your mentor.
I don't know. I guess curious to hear what people think. I mean, if I'm setting up a company and I don't know how to do the accounting and some accountant comes and gives me 3 hours of their time to help me understand accounting, I don't see that person as my mentor. I want someone who's done the thing that I'm doing that I'm going to be able to learn from and help me level up, not just learn a skill set.
That's totally fair. We've dug deep into this. I want to still save time for the listeners' questions, as well as hit a few of the fun questions that we have. First question for fun. Evan, inside or outside?
What does that mean? I don't know where you're going with that, Mark. I don't know. Outside.
You'd rather be outside than inside?
Oh, okay. I'd rather. Depends. It's snowing. Like it's a lot of snow here in Salt Lake City. So right now I'm very grateful to be inside.
Okay.
But I like outside.
You have to pick. Would you rather be inside or outside?
Outside. Great.
You are. I'm not in a strange mood today. You are in a strange mood.
Okay.
It's probably because I forced you to get up early because Instagram was down yesterday.
Oh no, I'm like, it's great that we could bang this out, because I thought if we were doing it on the road, the connection would be terrible.
It'd be terrible.
Dude, no, there's no way on any of our previous podcasts that if you came in and said inside or outside, I'd say that's a great question. There's no way.
We've done like salty or sweet. It's the same. Okay. It's the same type of question. At least I didn't. At least the question wasn't like, Evan, up or down, up or down. it's inside or outside.
I don't understand what you're talking about. Okay,
It's purposely
Moving
vague
on.
because it could be. Would you rather feel like part of the inside or be on the outside? Would you rather be inside or be outside? Which do you prefer? How do you prefer to spend your time? None of it. None of it. You're not having any of it.
Let's move on. Next question.
Wow. You don't even want to give me a chance to answer. Let's move on. Okay.
Oh, no. Okay, yeah, no, for sure. Okay, go for it. Mark Drager, inside or outside?
Great. Outside. Done.
Wow.
Evan, what today, Evan?
Yeah.
What is your biggest fear right now?
Disappointing people.
That's your big picture biggest fear, right? Like right now, that's still your biggest fear is disappointing people.
Oh, that's my biggest fear. Yeah, there's something else I'm afraid of for sure.
I don't know, in this season, in this window of time, in this week, in this day, this part of the tour, with what you're doing with your growing to 10,000, with what you're doing with your channel, like right now, what is your fear?
10 million, Mark, not 10,000.
Did I say 10,000? 10 million. Well, you got to grow those other channels to 10,000 before you hit 10 million.
Right?
You couldn't even. I was like, hey, where's the season and the episode things? And you're like, we haven't unlocked it yet.
Yeah, we haven't unlocked it yet. Too small. We need to get our channels to 1,000 and 4,000 hours. The macro is that, like, I'm afraid of disappointing people, and the micro on a daily, there's lots of stuff.
Mm-hmm. So right now, what are you afraid of?
I'm afraid of the 8-hour drive in snow to Colorado. Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of.
It's going to be big. So what are you going to do? You're going to break it up? You're going to take it slow? What's the plan? Lots of.
Oh, we just go. Nah, we'll stop. Like,
so you're not really that afraid. You're like, yeah.
No, I'm not. No, not the length. The conditions, like the snow. I don't want to drive in the snow and it'd be icy or something for 8.5 hours. Yeah.
My biggest fear right now, and I'm sure this will unleash a totally different thing. My biggest fear right now is that with all of the change that we're doing, is that I will find myself in 3 months not having implemented things quickly enough, or I don't want to find myself in 6 months being in the same place I am now. So whenever you're doing these big, massive decisions and these big, massive shifts, it's very easy for time to slip by. And so that my biggest fear right now is that 3 months, 6 months, a year from now, I will just be in the same place. And that terrifies me.
Speed, Mark. Let's go.
Speed. I told the team that our new pace is to try and do in 3 months what would normally take a year. And if we can do that.
Well, hold on. Oh, would take who a year?
Us, normally.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
And so over the next year, we should be able to make 4 years of progress. Yeah.
Louis should have been hired 2 months ago.
Sure.
Yep.
There's only 15 days difference between when you wanted me to make the move and when he made the move. Actually, not even 13 days difference. 13 days difference.
No. That is not true. I wanted you to make a decision on the call when we first talked about it and walk in tomorrow and say, decision done. That's it. You hedged hard and then went like, okay, maybe end next month or something, and then added an extra 15 days. That's not, don't put that on me, dude. On the call.
On the call. Make it happen. Sell it in the room, people. Sell it in the room.
Okay, but how much of a difference, honestly, would those extra 2.5 months or whatever it was made? Tell me you couldn't have done it.
It wasn't 2.5 months. I have the dates. Like we had the call, and then 5.5 weeks later, the decision was announced, and there was only 13 days difference between when you were saying like do this February 15th, and we did it February 28th. So we did it.
What was our call though?
It was January 20th or 21st or something. I have the dates because I did the Instagram video on it. So it was like January 20th or 21st, and then on the 15th of February, you wanted me to make the announcement, and I made the announcement February 28th.
No. I didn't want you to make the announcement. I wanted you to do it.
Yeah. Do it. Fine. Do it. I did it.
March 1st, you did it. March 1st?
Feb 28th. It was Feb 28th. Yeah, it was the Thursday, not the Friday. But yes. And now we're 2 weeks into it, and it's like we got to keep hustling. Anyway, that's my biggest fear right now. Actually, is
could have been a month earlier.
It could have been, but I went on vacation.
How much of a difference? What?
I went on vacation. I couldn't make this big shift and then leave 4 days later and go on vacation.
Of course you can. That's the best time. Let the guy go run the ship. He's the COO.
Oh, man. We're working on it, Evan. Every day I'm getting better. Every day.
Great.
Last question.
Here in 6 years in the same spot.
Last question. Favorite pasta?
Yep. Rigatoni with extra cheese. If it's a good cream sauce, I would go Alfredo.
Oh, yeah.
But most cream sauces suck hard.
I don't like cream sauces.
You just haven't had a good one, dude. That's all. You haven't had a real cream sauce. If I had to pick like an ideal rigatoni cream sauce with extra Parmesan.
What is rigatoni? Are those the no, it's penne. What's rigatoni? I don't even know.
Rigatoni is like a fat penne, like same length, but maybe like 3 times as wide.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, my mom made rigatoni all the time.
Okay. My favorite are baby shells. Baby shells with just like a nice tomato sauce, some cheese, maybe 2 or 3 types of cheese on there because the shells like just they just scoop up all the sauce so well. So good.
That's a way better question than the inside, I'd say.
Great. We can't win them all, okay? We can't win them all. Listen, let's shift gears real quick. We got 8 minutes. I saw some questions popping up from an audience. For any of our listeners listening to the podcast, you can always email questions@markdrager.com if you have a question as well, and we'll go ahead and hit them.
Wait. What's the email address? @markdrager.com? That's not an email address.
Yeah, questions@markdrager.com.
Oh, questions at, you said you can always
email questions
at, yeah, that's
questions.
Email address is, sounds like you can always email questions
to
at
questions
markdrager.com.
at markdrager.com. Listen, the people who are listening to this have a custom open and closing that you've never heard. So all of this stuff is explained. We talk about where we recorded it and how to get in touch with Evan. We go ahead and tag all those things for you. But first one is from Wisdom Rocks. Are you ready? I feel like my content is good on my page. So when I post, people like and follow. But I noticed a couple of days later, they unfollow me. Why do people do that?
So, one, the quick answer is they do that because there's bots and they're just trying to, either it's a bot that wants you to follow back or they're actually humans and they don't actually like your content. They're just trying to, you had some keyword that relates to them and they want you to follow them back. You don't follow them back, so they unfollow you. Second, don't default to think your content is good. If you're not growing the way you want to grow, your content has to get better. My content has to get better. So if my content has to get better, your content has to get better, right? Assume your content sucks. If you're posting your content and you're not getting people sharing it to their feed, you have to get better. What are you going to say, Mark? You got to say something.
Just don't pay attention to the follow-unfollows. So when someone follows me, I typically check them out. If there's someone that I'm interested in, I follow them back. And I know that the vast majority of listen, if you post something and within 1 second of you posting, someone has liked that post and then followed you and then checked out another post and liked that as well, that is suspicious in my mind. And so I just don't pay attention to those people. I just assume that every time you post something, there will be a group of channels or followers or people that will immediately follow you and then a few days later unfollow you because your numbers are always going to do this. So as long as, listen, it's like losing weight, right? You're always going to have the up and down. As long as the curve is going in the right direction, you don't pay attention to the day where you're a little bit heavier. Celebrate the days where you're a little bit down, but if the curve is doing this, you're good. So if your curve is doing this for growth, but going like this, then you're fine.
It's a podcast, Mark. Nobody can see your hands.
Right. For the listeners, just remember that I did an awesome job of pointing my hands up and to the right, down and to the left. I just did that.
And waving all around.
Waving all around.
You do the hokey pokey. That's what it's all about.
Evan, which is better, Google ads or Facebook ads?
Depends on what you're trying to do. Mm-hmm. If you have search intent, Google's better, but likely more expensive. Mm-hmm. If you have demographics that you know specifically who you're targeting, then Facebook and Instagram are going to be way better. Mark's the
100%.
expert in this stuff.
100%. So it depends on your industry, if you're B2B or B2C. It depends on your geography, and it depends on the age of the people you're targeting. So certain gender and ages for certain interests or keywords are naturally more expensive. And if you are in a really competitive industry, a mature industry, Google is very, very expensive. But marketing, like all marketing, should be set up based on a certain goal that you have. You should have a sense of how much you're willing to spend to acquire someone, and whether it's an expensive channel or an inexpensive channel. If you don't right size your cost of acquisition and how much you're willing to spend, what are you laughing about? If you don't right size that,
right size your cost of acquisition, man. Come on, dude.
Listen, if you are willing, people might say, are you willing to spend $10,000 a month? And people say, no. It's like, well, but if that $10,000 a month is based off of a $12 cost to get someone to make a sale, and you make $30 on every sale, would you spend $20,000 a month now or $30,000 a month? It's not about which is more expensive or inexpensive, because both of them will lose you money. Both platforms will lose you a lot of money if you're not careful. It's about ensuring that you're spending the right amount in the right place, and the best way to do that is to very carefully test and see what works for you.
Yeah, I mean, all things being equal, though, you have more leeway with Facebook than Google. It's just less mature. You can make more mistakes. You can still make tons of mistakes, but you don't have to be as good. If you're doing Google ads, you better be kick-ass optimization. Facebook, you can still not be as good and still win.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at losing money on both platforms right now.
He manages my campaigns too, by the way. So.
There you go.
LosingMoneyWithMark.com. That's the next website.
Dragosaurus. Zeno wants to know, Evan, front or back?
See what you inspired, Mark? You see what you inspired? Ambiguous.
Inside or outside is the same as salty or sweet, and you were able to run with it. So people want to know, Evan, front or back, up or down?
No. What does that mean? That's the thing. It's the same. Inside or outside. It's like, do you keep your butter inside or outside the fridge? I don't know.
Do you? I keep it on the counter because you want it soft. That's a great lateral thinking. Excellent.
But that's actually a better question. Do you keep the butter on the? I defaulted to toilet paper when you first asked me. Like, is the roll on the inside or the outside?
Great.
You know how you fold it?
Great. But one way is the proper way.
Sucks. Like, I don't know what you're asking me. When you say what's your favorite pasta, then it's great. Salty or sweet, I get context. Inside or outside, there's just way too many options. I don't like the question, and it inspired more ambiguity.
We got to bounce.
Who's now trolling us? Who's trolling us?
We got to bounce super quick. So quick, answer the question. Front or back?
Front.
There you go. I agree with you. Okay, real quick, hot or cold?
Hot.
Excellent. Evan, thank you so much for your time, as always.
Thank you, man. The host with the most.
There you go, Dragosaurus. We're going to keep that around or no?
Yeah, Dragosaurus has to live on. We need someone to make a graphic of what a Dragosaurus looks like.
Oh, don't do that. Is it
a big dinosaur, a little dinosaur, like a speedy? No, he's not speedy agile. It's a big lumbering dinosaur that's slowly getting smaller. That's what it is. Wow. You're not a velociraptor, that's for sure. You're like a...
I'm large and in charge. That's what they say, right?
Yeah, but getting there. Stegosaurus, baby. We'll go Stegosaurus.
Amazing. Thank you all. Remember to believe.
All right. Much love, man. Believe.
No one can see your hand doing that.
They can now. Take care, man.
Bye.
If you want to see the last episode of my podcast with Mark, it's fire. The link is right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
You will never win doing work that you hate. You have to love the work. Net overall.
There was a little jolt of excitement there. I was like, what?